What is going on, everybody? Welcome to 3 Star Draw. I am down south 77. First off, if you are new to the channel, I'd like to welcome you here. And if you're a returning viewer, I'd like to welcome you back. Always like to see people come back, of course, get in them comments, and I try to respond to all of them. So, with that out of the way, I hope everybody is having a fantastic May the Power of the Force. I have been really enjoying seeing all the different content creators with all their different takes, all the different styles, go back and revisit this line that we loved so much in the 90s. Of course, we all thought it was going to make us rich buying up all of those figures, and here we are sitting on YouTube. Anyway, that out of the way, if you don't know how this idea come about by now, I'll tell you real quick as I can in my way. My videos do tend to run a little bit long. I just like to talk. This was an idea that was started as a joke on A Punk with Toys on Lawrence's members only stream, A Punk's Pit. And it started, this probably was December or January. I think it was January. But I happened to be on that stream. I was in there that night when this idea got brought up and really began to get fleshed out. And it was started as a joke, but the more we added to it and thought about it, it became a really good and funny idea. And to have been there that night when it was proposed, to see it go from concept to what it is now and what we've been watching has been an absolute blast that we've been able to do this. And got to send a big thank you to Lawrence Punk with Toys and to Allison Troy, the Retro Toy Princess, because they are the two that really put this whole thing together. They carried a lot of the water for it, did the scheduling, the organizing, they've done graphics for it. Just, it's been a lot of work for them, and I hope they're enjoying seeing it pay off. And also to the other content creators, big and small, that have participated in this. Shout out to everybody for just having fun with it and just making this community do something to make it even more tight knit. I'm relatively new to it, and I'm really happy to have been welcomed into it and be part of it. And that being said, May the Power of the Force is something special. I think for most of us anyway. I know myself, I always try to watch the original trilogy at least a few times during May. They all come out in May, right? And it just so coincides that May the 4th has become Star Wars Day. Obviously, all the originals come out in May. And my character that I picked, of course, is the best character in all of Star Wars. Let's just go ahead and put that out front. But back to Lawrence kind of scheduling these. I think he did most of the scheduling for these. He's the one that let me know what day to do mine. And I was double checking over here while I was getting ready to do this intro. And I realized that today is May the 21st. May the 21st, 1980, is also the day that Empire Strikes Back came out. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite movie of all time, featuring one of my favorite characters of all time. So there's no way that Punk could have known that. I just noticed that it worked out that way. So thought that was a cool fact to add to it. So with that being said, hope you enjoy this video. Hope you enjoy my style. And let's go ahead and take a look at Landarius Balthazar Calrissian III, better known to his friends as
Lando.
But who is Lando?
Lando's not a system, he's a man.
Well, okay, I mean, but who is he really?
Lando Calrissian. This card player, gambler, scoundrel. You'd like him.
Okay, well, that clears that up. I appreciate that. So, if you guys have never watched one of my reviews before, particularly my Limelight series, where I look at a figure that I had before I started doing YouTube, I like to lay out some media in the background for whatever it is I'm looking at. So I did that here. You guys might recognize that. This is the first time it was released in VHS form in the United States. This is marked on the bottom 1988, and I believe that's the year that I got it for Christmas. Over here is, of course, the 1997 Special Edition trilogy, also on VHS. I saw all those in the theater at midnight, opening night, except for Jedi. I was late for the Jedi. And then over here, of course, we have it on DVD. This one is, of course, my most prized. It's not really worth anything, just sentimental value, like all of Star Wars. I like all the info there on the inside flaps for that. Images on the internet, it's easy to find. So let's go ahead and take a look at Lando here. This is, of course, Lando from Jedi. This is Lando after he was promoted to General in the Rebel Alliance from a card playing, swindling, gambler, scoundrel. I don't know how it was that he got promoted for that, but
someone must have told him about my little maneuver at the Battle of Tanab.
No, well, don't look at me, pal. So as you can see, this figure, I did have this figure signed. It is signed there. It says Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian. It's not my fault. Well, I thought that was a cool little addition there. So let's take a look at him in the package here. This was the freeze frame. This is when they started doing the freeze frames. There were a lot of packaging variations on these, as we know, a lot of variants on these, as we also know. And there was a variant on this, and we call them variants. They weren't really variants. They were running changes in the production. We had long saber, short saber in the long tray. We had, what else did we have? We had semicircle, multi-circle, 100-circle Boba Fett's. The list goes on and on. They had pretty much mostly gotten away from all of the variants and the running changes as they are by the time they got around to doing the freeze frames. But what there are, or what some people don't know, is this Lando actually had a variation, a run and change on the cape, and it's really hard to find. I can't tell. I think this one does have it on there. We'll know when we get him out of the package. So, nice package there. I like these slides. I like, actual movie scenes to see and project, and they work with a standard slide projector, which everybody had in their house in 1997 when this figure was released. Take a look at the back there. That is where Han and Chewie meet Lando when they find out he's leading the assault on Death Star. There are some other figures that come out that year, some very good figures that come out that year, some figures that we'd never had before. Ceremony Luke, we never had Tarkin. I don't think we had Ewok Celebration Leia, and then of course all this other cool stuff. And here is Jabba and Han. I had that from the this was stuff from the special editions that they added in. Dewback and the Sand Trooper, and then Jabba and Han. And that Jabba looks way better than the anorexic, look like a pile of clay Jabba. These were just the worst idea ever. Do you guys agree? So you could also send in for this stuff, which was the freeze frame slide holder, which, as I understand, is relatively valuable. Star Wars fan club. See, this is when they knew how to make card backs. This is right before Hasbro bought Kenner, and this is when they knew how to do card backs. Look at all this stuff on this card back, all this information on here. So with all that said and done, I am going to open this, and I am going to stop it for a second because I'm going to take some time to try to protect all of this packaging. I don't want to mess up this signature as I take it out. So can think of it like Doc Brown. For you guys, it's going to be instantaneous. For me, it's going to be 5 minutes into the future. So hang on a second while I try to get this thing out carefully, and I'll be right back. What'd I tell you guys? Instantaneous. That come off of there really, really nicely. Didn't have any trouble. We'll let Lando breathe some 21st century air there. Probably all new to him. He needs one of those little oxygen masks like Han had when they were fighting the Monox. Little perfect technique I've got getting these things off of here, so got that perfected over the years. Did have the signature here. I did forget to mention, I think, that I've got the footage from this being signed when I had this signed. I'm going to try to dig that up and stick it on the end of the video if I can find it, but just, I mean, awesome card. I may frame this, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Show the freeze frame slide here just a second. Try not to blind you guys. Not going to take a real long time with it. So it's the image on the back of the card that we showed. It's Lando meeting Han and Chewie while they're planning the attack, coordinating the attack with the Alliance. So I like these freeze frames. They are cool. I used to like to have the family over and show my Star Wars character slides on the projector. I didn't have did anybody have one of these things in 1997? We never even had one. So let's take a look. First, we're going to look at this gun. Was this gun anywhere in Star Wars? It looks like a Star Wars gun, but I don't remember anybody ever using a gun that looked like this in Star Wars. It looks kind of like Han's pistol. It was based off the Mauser. It was made out of a Mauser, but it's not. Why does it have a magazine? Is that a battery? It's too big for a handle. Is that a scope? He should have been able to see all the way back into the past before Alderaan got blown up. So really, really flimsy. Hasbro kept Kenner's techniques of making these nice gummy weapons. Not a lot to it. This is all he comes with. So let's take a look at Lando himself. This is a perfect likeness of Billy D. Williams. Looks just like that time he was on 227. No, it was Jefferson's he was on. It was even further back. So it looks just like him. But we never had this figure before. This figure was a big deal when it come out because we didn't have a General Lando. So he's got the 5 points of articulation, and he looks like he just got through riding a speeder bike, like all the way from Dantooine to Endor, doesn't he? Like, why do they all look like that? At least most of them stood, unless they were off balance. Most of these guys did stand really well, so we're going to put blaster in his hand. They didn't have any trigger fingers. They just had the cupped hands there, which was all you really needed, right? It was a simpler time. But I will tell you one thing. We joked on these figures. Of course, they were all the rage when they come out because new Star Wars, right? So we had our new Star Wars figures. We were getting characters that we'd never seen before. Cool little gimmicks in the packaging, aside from the coins that they came with. But as simple as these figures were, G.I. Joe made this design obsolete in 1982, and they chose not to go back or go with an updated modern design. And at the time, we were wondering why they didn't update them. But if you look back on them now, it really hit the nostalgia, right? If they had more articulation, I don't think we would have had as much love for them as, they wouldn't have been like the original figures. They would have been close to the original figures. So I think it really was a smart move looking back that Kenner did that with these figures, because you had the original articulation with them, and it really made you think about the figures that you had as a kid, right? It did for me, and I didn't realize it at the time, but that is one of the things that I loved about these figures, was they were almost exactly like the originals, just with updated designs and figures that we never got before, like this Lando. I got my favorite character in his only other costume other than the skiff guard. So I was really happy to see this figure and see Lando get some respect that he deserved. And I did want to point out, I wasn't sure if this was the cape variation in the package. I thought it was. Well, it turns out we're in luck. If you've never seen it before, you might not even known it existed. I don't know, but this is the variation. This is the running change variant cape on Lando. I thought it was. This is known as the Colt cape. This they come out with this one. This was one of the first ones that come out when they did this Lando, and he had this was the official symbol of Cloud City. There's actually a little sigil that goes with it, and I'll pop a picture of that up right here. And they were going to go with that, but they decided just to do the branding for it, and at some point they changed it. I guess they realized that it looked better without the script on it. But this was the original version of General Lando with the Colt cape. It's really hard to find. I just got lucky, and man, I even had the card back signed with it. So it was just a win all around with this Lando figure. What do you guys think? Did you guys pick this up? Or are you going to go back and buy them? Check eBay. There's probably a lot of people that have this and don't even know that it's the Colt cape variant. So it makes it a little more rare. I think if you can find one, makes this figure worth about $7. So there is General Gear Lando, guys, my favorite character from the Star Wars trilogy. When I was a kid, I really liked Luke, but didn't we all? As I grew up, I realized I'm probably a lot more like Lando than I am like Luke. That is the review, guys. I appreciate you for tuning in. I hope you liked it. And as always, may the power of the Force be with you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun making it. On a serious note, I did want to add to the very end here that while my love for Star Wars may have waned a little bit over the years, it may not be the giant raging inferno of passion that it has been for a lot of my life. Rest assured that the flame that started that blaze can never be extinguished. Oh, and here's getting it signed. All right, beautiful. Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome.